to the wall into it. Just give us a chance to stop and talk about it too. Like blah, 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 Minnesota. And then Jason could say something funny about Minnesota.
Yeah, it's like some like shitty Vikings fan.
Yeah.
Like,
I say, are we going to talk about when Kirk Cousins was here? Or
Joseph Smith's like whatever?
Is he from Minnesota?
He's not from Minnesota.
I am not from Minnesota.
It's like practically the same spot though, right?
No, not at all.
But do you know what is from Minnesota? This week's podcast on Ope What You Think, the Midwest only drunk paranormal podcast. Brought to you by plenty of old style and some pickle beers tonight. Isaac, what's your favorite beer?
Hams.
Jason, what's your favorite beer?
Every take we do, we have to crack another beer, and this is getting excessive.
He didn't answer the
That didn't answer the question. Josh, what's your favorite beer?
2 hams.
2 hams.
Wow.
And my favorite beer is 3 hams. So Josh is bringing us a story today.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Today we have a story coming out of Minnesota, specifically Kensington, which is in the northwest part of the state.
Is Minnesota the land of the sky blue water, Josh?
It is the land of the sky blue water.
That's the only question I had.
But the beer is actually made in Wisconsin. They just kept the label.
So, like, how close to North Dakota is this?
No idea.
Yeah, what a weird question.
Did you look up the geography of this before you started?
No, I just forget North Dakota.
Tyler's researching this.
Doing some research right here. So, Kensington, Minnesota, if anybody cared about it.
What's like the nearest big city?
It's like right in the middle of the state almost.
It's right in the middle of the state.
We talking like the...
I mean, I would say like...
It's really in the middle of the
It's right
state.
in the middle. Like, yeah, Aberdeen, South Dakota, Fargo, and St. Paul making kind of a Bermuda Triangle for this place. So maybe that's why there's some things going on here. Yeah, it's really out in the middle of nowhere, and that's coming from someone that's from the middle of nowhere. Carry on,
So, yeah,
Josh.
Josh, what do you got? What's happening here? What are we talking about?
So in 1898, a Swedish immigrant named Olof Oham unearthed a large stone weighing about...
Wait. You didn't make that. Olaf Oham.
Olaf?
The Swedish immigrant.
Oman.
Yeah, can you say
man.
it like 3 times
Yeah.
without...
Yeah, very, very incredibly Swedish.
Svissgard.
Almost a meatball with legs.
Say it again real quick without reading it. Without reading it!
Olaf Oman.
What? Is that right?
Is it?
We'll never know.
I don't know.
You
Are
can
you Swedish?
No.
You can fact check us after the show.
So Olaf was out in the field picking stones and clearing trees, trying to get a farm set up when he found a large rock tangled in tree roots that he had to dislodge. The stone was made of greywalk, which is a sedimentary rock that's not native to the area, and weighed about 200 pounds. It's about 30 inches by 2 feet by 6 inches. So like a big tombstone with a large inscription carved into it.
And that's the actual stone. Tyler just pulled up a picture.
So I pulled up a picture of the actual stone. We'll probably put it as a cover of this episode.
So there's actually proof of this.
Yeah, this rock exists.
Okay.
So, like, unlike the golden tablets, like, people have actually seen this.
Yes, people have seen this, and they did not get banned from Missouri for knowing about it.
We love our Mormon listeners.
Shout out Joseph Strang, future episode, King of Beaver Island.
So, this large rock had runes carved into it with that local archaeologists were able to date back to around the 1300s, and they were even able to decode some of the runes. And they told the story of 30 Vikings who had traveled from Vinland, which was a settlement in northeast U.S., or actually up farther north in Newfoundland, Canada. And they had said that they were killed. A few of their men were killed by Indians, and this is as far as they could go before they would turn back.
So that's still pretty far to get into Americas. I mean, you're basically in the middle of the country.
Yeah, and then to end up all the way in Minnesota?
Yeah.
What's now Minnesota, that's pretty far in.
Yeah,
right?
so
if you're especially going from ocean, like...
Yeah, the story describes a little bit of their journey, how their friends died, and then kind of the area that they came from, and that this was the farthest point they were willing to go before they turned back.
Obviously, they're coming through the Great Lakes, getting in that way, or they were...
I feel like that's even like a pretty far way to like Portage from like Superior, looking at like where it's at. Like,
For real,
I guess
yeah.
I don't know how the watersheds are in that area, but like I feel like that'd be a heck of an overland trip to get there.
I mean, Tyler's map that he has pulled up, the old world map there, that it makes it look like going into the Great Lakes was very easy.
Yeah. And you got to remember, like, the overland here, it was just nothing but pine trees between this spot and Minnesota and Canada. So it was just hard hiking or going by rivers or other, like, almost no way to get from Newfoundland down to Minnesota. So Olaf Oham had brought the stone to local archaeologists where they were able to just code this story, and it's sat in a museum for a few years. Recently, geologists have been going back to try to officially date the stone, but because they didn't know exactly where in the depth of the soil he dug it out of, and it was about 100 years previously, they're unable to carbon date anything from the rock or anywhere from around the rock was found. The one thing some archaeologists do bring up is that some of the rune carvings, they don't think they're exactly a match for the time period they're describing. Some of them say, oh, this might be older. Some of them say they might be newer. And they even bring up that there's might be some spelling mistakes, but let's face it, who hasn't made a spelling mistake before? So there is actually a runestone museum in Alexandria, Minnesota, where the rock is currently being held, as well as some other potential runestones that have been found throughout the Midwest, which include there's one out of Minnesota or one out of Oklahoma that is said to have dated back all the way to like the 1500s. And then there is a couple out of Tennessee that are also pretty widely debated.
So how are these similar? Like they look the exact same, or what are we talking about here?
No, they're just also other reported findings of like Viking expedition stones. So like the thought is that these expeditions would go as far inland as they could, and then they would leave marker stones to be like, hey, I made it this far, and then turn around.
I mean, that makes sense, kind of, right?
Yeah. I mean, if you went and explored a brand new continent and could only make it so far, wouldn't you want to be like, hey, guys, this is the new high score?
Yeah.
And then turn
you
around
find this,
and go back?
Keep on giving her.
Yeah.
So, like, could they, like, trace, like, where, like, this stone was, like, come from or anything like that? Like, I feel like for, like, a lot of, like, sedimentary stuff like that, like, there should be, like, oh, this is usually found in, like, this area of the world kind of thing, or...
Yeah,
something
so
like that.
this specific type of stone is mostly found in, of all places, New Zealand, and then Ireland and Scotland.
Oh, so the stone's not even from the Americas, they
Yeah.
think.
They brought him with them on the.
So they, like, hauled this rock with them?
Well, you would
when they
think then that
crossed?
if they knew where it came from, why isn't there local records? That you would think those guys would go back and brag about how far they made it.
Well,
At least, obviously, they wouldn't know where they were, but
if 30 of them died right there and they were going to turn around,
because of syphilis.
What?
Josh said it was because of Indians before. But if they died when they went out there, 30 of them died.
No. 30-man party, 2 of them died.
Oh, only 2 of them died.
That's pretty good odds.
So yeah, you'd think there'd be some sort of
Local
record of
record.
them possibly making it back,
Yeah,
right?
like hanging out in Iceland with your buddies, like, wouldn't you be telling everyone, like, hey, I went all this way on these, like, freshwater seas and everything like that? Like,
Yeah.
you'd be telling everyone about that.
No idea where I was, but we left a rock there.
That's true.
Anyway, Josh, carry on.
I mean, so for like the other stones that have been found, this one is moderately closer to now. So this one is the estimated date based off of the different calendars that they would have used is that this would have been done in like the 1360s. There's one stone in Tennessee that puts the date at like the year 1000, which is probably one of the older like supposed Viking runestones. There is some controversy around these. Like I was saying, some archaeologists don't really trust the rune stones because there's spelling errors, or they think that they're mixing older runes with newer runes of that year. But also it could just be a local dialect, or
Yeah, you would think it would be the Minnesota one would be older because it's closer to water, right?
I mean, Tennessee's close to water too. Depends on
Yeah,
which
but-
way you're thinking.
Compared to the ocean, though, it's easier to get in the Great Lakes and get down to Minnesota than it is.
well,
to-
you got to
like a
remember
river.
at that time the Vikings couldn't go up the Great Lakes because there's still Niagara Falls. So like,
You could always, like, portage around. Like, that's how everybody else did it.
yeah,
I think either way, it's pretty hard to get to Minnesota. I mean, it's probably hard to get to Tennessee as well. So a lot of people think the Vikings might have reached like Prince Edward Island and Newfoundland in around 1,000 in the year 1,000.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 300 years later, could they make it to Minnesota after that? I mean,
So these guys are just coming here and then going home. They're not trying to colonize anywhere they're going, or they are?
I think they might have even. I would imagine they tried to set up a small colony, but I imagine the locals were probably pretty hostile towards them. But then again, America was the land of the plenty, right? There was plenty of fish to fish, plenty of deer to eat, plenty of berries to pick, plenty of trees to chop down for firewood and shelter. But maybe they didn't need that. I mean, would you want to go out in the middle of nowhere and just stay there, or would you want to go back and tell people about it?
I definitely want to go tell people about it, but you got to remember, like, the year 1000, 135 years before, the Vikings had basically completely took over England, and they were still pushing out further and further west. Like, they were still settling islands beyond England and Ireland. So it's not that they ever found a place that they liked and just stopped. Like, England was a good place to take over, Ireland was a good place to take over, and they keep pushing into more islands out in the Atlantic until they finally landed in, Newfoundland and Prince Edward Island. And there's nothing to say that just because they get to land that they're going to stop.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, it's just one of those things too where, like, you can conquer the unknown. It's something that we can't really do this day, so I don't think it's something we can really think about. Like, I guess if we went to Mars, right? Like, that's a little bit different than coming to a new world, but there'd probably be some people that think they would stay there, and there'd probably be some people that think, oh yeah, we'll go to Mars and come back. I mean, we did that with the moon, right? We went to the moon, planted a flag, came back home.
Or did we?
That's another episode. But yeah, I guess, Isaac, what do you think about this? I mean, do you think it's plausible that Vikings might have came this far in?
Oh, absolutely. It's just hard to think about nowadays when everything's so accessible with the internet and all that, satellites. But back then, why not? I mean, obviously, that's how we were colonized, right? Most of them came from Europe and they just worked their way in. So why would it not be plausible?
Yep.
And I get totally marking where you've been. So then future like, they probably marked a spot and made a map of it. So then they would know where to go and just go from there. So it makes sense.
What about you, Jason?
I don't know. Like, I feel like if it had been like closer in like the Great Lakes watershed, like it might be a little bit more believable. Like, I don't know, like going out to Duluth and stuff like that. I know there's like the St. Louis River and whatever that like cuts in and north a little bit, but like I feel like that's like, I don't know, like way out there closer to like the Mississippi watershed. Like that'd be a lot of portaging and going through the woods if you're like tied to your boats and everything like that. And like, to be fair, when you're talking like runestones in like Tennessee and whatever, thought the only time like, Vikings got to Tennessee were when they played the Titans.
Oh,
like, I don't know about that.
I don't know if they had that back then, Jason.
Either way, like no great loss. It's not like the Titans or Vikings are that good.
Josh, how about you?
I mean, I'm apt to believe this one. There is a little bit of wishy-washiness, the actual stone itself. But there's plenty of other stones that are supposedly been found throughout the Midwest that say Vikings have been here either at that time or even earlier, potentially hundreds of years earlier. So honestly, even if this stone turned out to be fake, I don't think that would completely disprove the fact that Vikings had gotten that far into Minnesota.
How many of these stones are there? Like in museums right now?
There's about 10 of them that have been found in like North America that are actually,
and around the same age, supposedly.
Either around that like 1300s time or earlier, because once you start pushing later, like the Viking civilization pretty much got wiped out at that time, and then you see the rise of like the Spanish and the Portuguese, and that's when like the conquest of South America starts by the Europeans.
Tyler?
So yeah, I actually think I agree with Josh a little bit. I think there's probably evidence and reason to say that there were Vikings in the Americas. I mean, they know for sure they were up in Newfoundland and parts of Canada. I don't think this stone was carved by Vikings, though. I think it was probably a farmer who was a little bit bored. I mean, you have a Scandinavian farmer who found a Scandinavian stone. That seems like pretty good odds.
Correlation does not equal causation.
Hey, but
What if the stone called out to him?
right, but I mean, if the language stuff, there are grammatical errors and everything else on the stone. I mean, they had a lot of time on their, not that they didn't have a lot of time on their hands in the Vikings' time, but they had more time on their hands too in the 1890s. So this guy could have carved the stone as a prank and said, "Hey, archaeologists, look what I found." They took him seriously, and then, it was probably a little bit of an attraction for a while. I saw pictures of Kensington, Minnesota that we pulled up, and it seems like they have like a big Viking statue there too. So I don't know. Did Vikings visit Minnesota? I think it's plausible. Is this stone actually real and not a hoax? I'm going to have to go with no. I don't think it's real.
Okay. Well.
So that is what we think. But what do you think? Oh, what you think?